joining us on the Authors Stage, an initiative highlighting writers and authors who call the Saratoga Springs, New York, and surrounding areas their home. The Authors Stage is a community collaboration between Universal Preservation Hall, a member of Proctors Collaborative, and the Saratoga Springs Public Library. And we are delighted to be broadcasting from the beautiful Great Hall here at Universal Preservation Hall in downtown Saratoga Springs. Many thanks to all who bring this project to life. I'm Trevor Oakley from the Saratoga Springs Public Library, and today I'm excited to be talking to the winner of the Romance Writers of America's Golden Heart, the RWA's Kiss of Death Chapters Daphne du Maurier Award for Excellence in Mystery and Suspense, and the Toronto Romance Writers Catherine Award. She is the author of the paranormal romance series Mated by Fate, of which Book 1, Hunt the Moon, and Book 2, Touch the Sky, are available from Carina Press, a division of Harlequin Press. I am excited to welcome Kari Cole. Kari, thank you for spending some time with us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
Cool, that's great. Me too. So, just getting right into it, as I like to do. Where did the inspiration for this series come from, or even maybe your work overall, but definitely, this series.
They're kind of everything I do, and the series were sort of an amalgamation of different things. I tend to have, dreams, and I've always told myself stories to entertain myself. And they just kind of come from there. And sometimes the characters don't quite fit with what I'm trying to write, and they might just, inhabit the back of my brain for a while and show up. But Hunt the Moon started as a short story when I was very, very first starting to write. 21 years ago, when I was home alone with my son after he was born, and I submitted it to the Buffalo News. I'm sorry to whoever had to read that. And it was more of like an Edgar Allan Poe Telltale Heart kind of horror story. And then it just sort of morphed from there. And I was walking my dog one day, and there's listening music while I was doing it, and there's a song by Katie Lang called Constant Craving.
Yes, yeah.
And there's a line in it about someone brave marches beneath this chest, and poof, my heroine was right there. She just came full force, was fully developed, and she would not let me change her in any way, shape, or form. And if I tried, didn't. And then the hero of Book 2 also just kind of poofed into my brain, fully formed, and he was adamant about who he was and what he was, and do not try to change him. And that's just kind of, I don't know, it's like watching a movie in my head. I just kind of transcribe it.
Do you happen to be an only child?
No, I'm an older
Okay,
sibling.
all right. No, because as an only child, I mean, you said, write stories in my head, or I'm always telling myself stories. I mean, that's what I did, because I didn't have many other people to talk to. So you get really, really creative, and you spend a lot of time up in there. And so you said that.
I do. I have a younger brother, but he's 4 years younger, so we're kind of far apart.
Yeah.
But I tell my kids stories all the time. I think that's probably how we started. There was a lot of, fan fiction of Thomas the Tank Engine and Pokemon and stuff like that.
Oh, wow. Okay, Thomas the Tank Engine fan fiction. I'm all over that.
I didn't know I was writing fan fiction, but yeah.
So are there any characters in the books that you're particularly proud of? How, I know you said that they poofed, they were just there, how they were created, but then developed past the poof kind of stage.
In Hunt the Moon, my heroine Izzy is a former Army helicopter pilot, and she was definitely inspired by Senator Tammy Duckworth from Illinois. Yes. And she's just a hero of mine, and Izzy is definitely modeled on Senator Duckworth. And she also has post-traumatic stress syndrome, and I'm kind of proud that I didn't fix her.
Yes.
A lot of romance, we get nailed for people saying that there's the magic sex or whatever that fixes the hero or heroine. And I prefer to think of it as the romantic partner is the person that makes you more perfect in who you are. And so Izzy's not cured by the end of the book. She's not cured in the second book when she appears. And she's just, I try to do it that way. So I'm kind of proud that I didn't fix her, and that she's also a badass.
Yeah,
So.
I love this that you specifically said, we're not going to fix, because all of us, we're here walking around with something that is not necessarily fixable, but something that you are adaptable to, or you can adapt to, or this thing that you've made peace at, or it's something you live with, and that's just part of the human condition. So the fact that no, this is how it is. This is the character. This is the person. They're a real person doing and in plenty of unreal things. But no,
Right.
they're
Especially when you're writing
they're
romance,
one of us.
because
Yeah.
that's I write paranormal, so of course there's fantastical elements, and my books are shapeshifters, or they're witches or fae or whatever. But at the end of the day, I still want to give my characters a satisfying love story, and that person who they end up with has to be the perfect person for them. And I guess, the person that loves your monsters inside, right?
Yeah.
And so I try to make it that way, because that's who we all are. None of us are perfect. And the person we end up with, hopefully, is someone who makes us feel more comfortable in our own skin.
Yes. Yeah. And literally, you have people that are shifting.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I love it.
Werewolves and werebears, were-eagle in these stories.
So can you share with us anything that you ended up having to edit out of one or more of these books? You're either really happy about leaving out, or it's content that you wish made it into the final product.
I don't really have scenes that are cut that could have been left in. I am a horrible overwriter. So, my second book, I actually kept track that the book is about 92,000 and some odd words, and I wrote 270,000 for it. I don't write a whole first draft and then go back and edit. I tend to edit as I go, and because I have a high achiever part of my personality, I can't stand seeing the word count go down in the negatives, so I keep track, and I kind of cut and drop it in a discard pile. So as I'm writing, the things that I'm taking out are things that just don't work. It's usually when I'm not listening to the characters, when I'm trying to shoehorn a plot point in that I think should go there, and the characters are going, no, I'm not going to do that. And I write it, and I'm bored. My critique partners are bored, and so I just dump the whole thing. Sometimes as I'm writing, trying to figure out who they are and what's going on, I'll toss stuff, but I usually don't have full scenes. I could send out to a newsletter and be like, ooh, this was deleted out of there. No, I wish. It's just usually garbage that has to go.
Okay. So it sounds like, the follow-up was, who makes the decision? And it sounds kind of like it is you and the character, you kind of fight it out. Yeah. And your critique partners, are they beta readers, or part of a reading or a writer's circle that you have, or both?
I don't have specific beta readers other than other writer friends.
Okay, yeah.
But I had 3 other people. We worked together for years, where I don't know how many iterations of these books they had to suffer through. They're other writers too, so they know what they're looking for. They know how to edit, and they're also readers, so that's how we do it. I wish I was the person that made the decision, but sometimes I'm not. And the characters will decide if they want to play along or not. When I say they don't want to play along, I mean I have writer's block. I cannot write. And so I just sit there
your characters do it? No.
Yeah.
No.
I literally can't write. Yeah. So I've just learned that when I've hit a wall and I can't write, it means I'm doing something wrong.
There you go. Yeah, it's almost like if you're trying too hard to force it, then it's not working. So it's part of that, work smarter, not harder, or you're trying to crowbar this thing in, and then you say, why?
I just have to go back to where the last place I felt it coming to me was, and then try to see it, literally see it. I'll do something boring like fold laundry or drive around, take a shower. I have a waterproof notepad in my shower.
Oh, that's wild. That's
it's called
cool.
Aqua Notes. Every writer needs them.
I've never heard of the Aqua Notes. Okay.
Yep. Do something mindless that you don't have to, it's muscle memory or something, like wash the dishes, walk the dog. And that's usually where I can find the answer, but I have to give up whatever I was trying to do.
So those things that you deleted, are they just out in the ether? Like you digital delete, they're gone, or they copy and pasted somewhere chilling on a Google Doc, or?
Most of them are deleted after I've counted them.
Okay.
So that my personality doesn't have an implosion. So I don't cry that I have negative word count for the day.
Oh no. Today was productive, I promise.
I have to have them there.
So how do you strike a balance then between making demands on readers versus taking care of them or guiding them through the reading experience? Like how much effort do you want your readers to have to put in, or?
I don't want them to put in effort as they're reading. I think genre fiction, part of the appeal, the big part for me at least, is the escapism of it. And I want someone to sit down with my books and not be able to put it down. Like never be able to catch their breath except and go, "Aw," or something. I want them to just want to constantly read the next thing. So that means making it easy for them to not stop. When they put it down, when they're done, I would like them to go, "Oh, well, there were some themes in there." They're not necessarily intentional. I think that every writer instinctively puts things in our core story or whatever, but I don't want them to have to work too hard at it.
Yep, because I can tell you that your world building, what you, in my opinion, what you were really able to achieve was you have different where beings or groups of where beings that are represented here, and you're kind of able to establish whatever this hierarchy is, a little bit of history, tensions between groups. It's all done very effectively and quickly, and you're just like, okay, cool, I'm in this world now, and I get it. So yes, I can say as the reader, that definitely worked. I wasn't going like, oh, who's this? It's like, nope, I've got the players. It's like, okay, we've got or different families, whether, thinking about, crime fiction, like, oh, we got these different power families here, and then here's the quick, So.
You have to set it up for everybody, because everybody's world is different. Everybody's werewolves are created differently. Everybody's vampires are created differently.
Totally.
And you want to make it as easy as possible to jump in the story without dumping too much in the beginning. And all that is editing and very kind critique partners who suffer through the first several dozen drafts.
So can you share with us any details about something you're working on right now, even if it's another creative pursuit that isn't necessarily a literary one?
I am writing an all-new series, and I'm pretty excited about it. I'm half Ukrainian, and I'm from Amsterdam, New York, and there's a lot of immigrants in Amsterdam, and my father's first-generation American. And I wanted to lean into that especially when you're doing werewolves and things like that, all the fantastical elements we see are generally from Western European, not Eastern European things. And I wanted to kind of like honor my Ukrainian heritage. So I am writing at it. I just get all giddy when I think about it. They're just,
I can tell. I mean, it's radiating off you.
I'm doing, to start, 3 Ukrainian-American Cossack sorcerers, and I'm setting it here in the Albany area.
Okay.
And I have another 4 books planned out with a family of cursed Ukrainian witches.
Is this going to be still the blend of paranormal and romance, or is it going to shift more toward,
Paranormal romance. I am talking about doing urban fantasy, but that's with my sons, so that'll be something else.
Boy, that almost sounds like something, if I may say, something out of like the worlds of Magic: The Gathering, and immediately I'm going, oh my goodness, I can't wait.
I gave myself permission to go completely insane, and my first heroine, I've made up an entire new species of person, so from a different dimension, and I've threw Sasquatches in there and ghouls, and I'm just going crazy. And I don't normally do that. I went to business school, so I want to have regimented things, and then my imagination doesn't go along with that. So I'm just like, you know what? Just let my freak flag fly.
And it sounds like it's going to fit also with your MO of how you overwrite 3 times what you originally planning on doing, and then you're just putting in every beast being and sort of the personality that you love, and across different planes, and that sounds like a ton of fun.
Thanks,
So
I hope so.
have fun with that.
I'm trying.
So I know that we have working and aspiring writers in the audience. So can you talk to us a little bit more about your writing process? Do you have a specific routine? Do you have maybe like a time of day, or do you do something that kind of gets you going, flex that literary muscle? I know you said doing the mindless muscle memory thing helps kind of get past a writer's block. Or if that's kind of, that's what you had to say about that. Do you have just any advice in general that you'd want to share with aspiring writers?
I wish I had more of a routine. I don't. Whatever work is working for the book or that time in my life, I just try to write. Put your butt in the chair and your hands on the keyboard and try to do a 20-minute sprint. And if you only get 50 words, you get 50 words.
Right.
But the best advice, I think, is to find your writing tribe. Writing is hard. It's solitary. I mean, you can get lost in your own head. Imposter syndrome is a horrible thing.
Oh, yeah.
And so find writing people. And there's groups on Facebook. You can join a writer's group in person. If you're a newbie writer and you don't know where to go, a good place is to, in November, do National Novel Writing Month, NaNoWriMo.org. And every region has in-person groups, and you can go and meet some other newbies, or there's probably some very experienced writers. You look around, see what's in your local area. I joined Romance Writers of America back in the day, and there was a group here in Saratoga and another one in the Capital Region area. We met at East Greenbush, and my crit partners came straight from there. I write every single day with people I met in Romance Writers of America, and I have other online groups, and you can go to, there's 20, I think it's 20 books to 50K on Facebook. There's all sorts of Facebook groups, just anybody you can find that will help you, whatever your genre. And when people tell you write what you know, no.
All right.
Write what you enjoy.
Cool.
And I don't know about werewolves, I just make them up.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, there's so many rules, and I mean, if you've, I've taken a variety of writing classes, I've read, things on writing, and when it almost sounds like when someone either claims to know the way or claims to know the rules, why? What makes that a rule?
Yeah, there's no one thing I think that works for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, you have the greats in the, in the field, like Nora Roberts or J.R. Ward, and they write differently than someone else, like Nalini Singh or Alexis Daria or somebody. You just have to go with what works for you.
Yeah.
And try to find people who understand that, because I know when I came home and told my husband, like, yeah, my characters are talking to me again, his face said that he was about to call the guys in the white lab coats because he didn't understand that there were people in my head. But a writer does. Yes. So you need to find someone who understands you, that you're not nuts.
So yeah, his demeanor was, but his words were maybe supportive, like, that's great.
Yeah, he was
cool.
Like, that's very nice, Kari. Good.
And you're saying, you don't know this by now? The people in my head?
I'm like, there's always been people in my head. And he's like, oh, okay. Yeah, the poor husband.
Yeah. No, that's, I think if we're not walking around with, whole groups up in there, we're doing something wrong.
I know. They don't address me by name, so that's good.
Something, hey man. Like,
no, I'm not having that kind of conversation with them. No. But yeah, they're in there having their little lives. And
I save that for my cats. Okay, sorry.
My dog. My writing partner.
So I'm a librarian, so you got to forgive me for indulging a little bit here. So do you happen to have a favorite memory about a librarian or a teacher, or even maybe a particular library as a setting? Whether you were traveling and saw this really cool library, or anything like that. Just
I love libraries. They're like my happy place. I'm from Amsterdam, and we have a very old-fashioned, beautiful old building library, and I didn't go very often, but whenever I did, I would just like curl up and enjoy it. And when I went to college, I found all the best libraries on campus and would like hunt out my spots. And I went to the University of Buffalo, and I was almost exclusively on the campus in Amherst, which is north. But I would take the 25-minute bus ride down to South Campus just to go to the library there because it was pretty, and I liked it and had a good vibe. And when I started writing, my kids were very small, and I would escape the house and go to libraries, the Audubon Library in Amherst and the Webster Public Library, because I lived in Rochester and Buffalo for a long time. And yeah, I've scoped out all the best libraries and spent a lot of time at the Saratoga Public Library writing and cuddle up my kids reading there.
I got to tell you, I got my library degree at University at Buffalo, and that Audubon Library, yes. I mean, that was a library where I almost rediscovered public libraries in general, which I felt very almost guilty about. I said, I'm in this library school, and here I am in this public library going like, oh, this is what you do now. Where was I? I mean, I'd been in this world of academia, for the past 4 years, and that Audubon Library.
It's
Boy, that
gorgeous.
And I never checked out the South Campus, that beautiful library.
I think it was the Architecture Library, whatever that big one was. I can't remember what it's even called anymore.
It was the Lockwood Library. That was the one where I tried a couple of times, and I went, this is very austere. It's very a product of its institution.
That was my napping library.
There you go. I hear you. So that's cool. Cool connection. Do you ever Google yourself or check mentions on social media, read those online reviews on any memorable or favorite ones?
I try not to. I've learned my lesson. It's soul-sucking, demoralizing. Of course, when the books first come out, you're like, how are the reviews? How are the bloggers responding to it? And it can be terrible, so I try not to. And whenever I get the urge, I tell my friends, I'm thinking about Googling myself. No, don't do that, don't do that. We'll look. Like, okay, thank you.
It's like your support system. You say, when I'm feeling this, I'm gonna call y'all, and
Yeah, it's a bad scene. I mean, even if I was looking at my books have done well in contests, and I know that they were edited well. My editor was great. But there's always going to be something that someone doesn't like, or it doesn't resonate for someone, and people are not shy about it. And I don't know. I think authors we're tender, thin-skinned at times, and it's probably not a good idea to look.
Yeah. In your opinion, has it always been like? I know now everyone can be a reviewer.
Right.
It's very different because it was trade publications or that kind of thing, that was in the pre-internet or pre-mass social media, wiki days. So has there always been you think this undercurrent of this negativity where you're almost going to like, I'm going to tell them exactly how I feel, and now we can, or this is just a...
I think people just used to have to put it in an envelope with a stamp.
Okay.
I think that people have always, done this, but it's just so much easier. Or they would tell their friends, and they didn't necessarily tag you on Twitter when they're telling their friends that they didn't like something you did.
Oh no.
I should think it's just easier. I think people really haven't changed. It's just the method of how we tell the people we love or hate that we've enjoyed their works or we didn't enjoy their works. And hopefully people put more positive stuff out there, but because we're trying. We work hard to try to make something that people will enjoy, but not everybody's going to love the same thing.
Yeah, and I mean the beauty is that's why there's so much out there. And if everybody could just enjoy what they enjoy and not have to tear down what they don't, there's plenty of other things over here for you to enjoy. Just be cool.
Especially with the advent of indie or self-publishing, there is literally everything. There's no gatekeepers anymore.
Yeah.
So if you like this specific little niche kind of trope, odds are you can find it. It's great.
I found a dinosaur Western horror the other day, Pteranodon Canyon by Tim Meyer, and I went, I found it. So yeah, I love it and adore it. It's this wonderful burden of choice.
Yes.
So if you could describe or define yourself in just one word, what would that word be?
I have to go with adaptable.
I like it.
I'm always trying to change. Sometimes I have to remind myself when I get in a rut that you don't have to stay this way.
Yeah.
You can do something else. I was an exchange student in high school to Spain for my junior year of high school. And whenever I get in a rut, I remind myself that I went by myself without being able to speak the language, like 3 weeks after I turned 16, for the entire school year. No parents,
Yep.
you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, if I can do that and learn 2 languages while I was there, I can adapt to the new marketplace. I can adapt to a new publisher, to doing it myself, to being a stay-at-home mom, to, you know, so I just, like, I'm always kind of shedding skins and trying on new ones.
That's a really, I think, wonderful and powerful thing to keep in mind, because I don't know what it is about many of us as we get into adulthood and we forget the things that you just did when you were 15 or 16.
Right.
And yeah, I did the exchange student thing as well. And you just kind of, you went and you said, oh, this is wild, this is new, I don't know what the heck I'm doing, and that's
Right.
okay. And I don't know how, how that kind of, that feeling leaves some of us,
I think
the
you
older we
try
get.
to put this adulthood kind of thing, like I'm supposed to be doing these
The
things,
supposed
this
to,
adulting
yes,
stuff.
okay.
But I mean, I went to school and I got an MBA to become a CEO. I thought I was going to be, running companies, and then I hated corporate America. And I also worked for a .com just before the bust, and I got laid off during the .com bust, and I was pregnant. So I stayed home, and I'm like, this wasn't what I was going to do.
Wasn't the plan. Yeah.
And I never planned on being a writer, but it just couldn't stop thinking about stories. And I'm like, this is something I can do while my kids are home. And so you just got to keep changing. And I think the day you stop is the day you should just, give it all up. But
So it sounds like you're almost saying you should shift your skins.
yeah. My husband says to just put up more books right now. So.
Very pragmatic. Thank you. Thanks.
New series. That's how I'm shifting my skins now.
Very cool. Well, thank you, Kari Cole, for spending your time with us today. So where can people find you, either online or in real life? Or more importantly, where can people find your books?
My books are available anywhere. You can buy, your digital books, your ebooks, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, everywhere. And I'm online at KariColeAuthor.com, and Kari is Kari, and I'm Kari Cole Author on all my social medias, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
Wonderful. Thank you again.
Thank you.
So, well, at this time, we're going to take our bows and leave the author's stage. Many thanks again to Universal Preservation Hall and Proctors Collaborative and the Saratoga Springs Public Library for their partnership on this program. And most of all, big thank you to our guest, Kari Cole, for joining us on the stage. I'm Trevor Oakley, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Be sure to read something good today.